Hey guys, how's everybody doing? It's been a while since I've done a video, so I just want to do an update. It's probably been about a month now, and in that time I have gone on a cruise for 9 nights in the Caribbean. Um, I've also taken a little bit of time off with family because when I got back from that cruise, obviously I did crash a little bit, and I'll make another video about traveling with long COVID. I didn't push myself on it or anything like that, but being around 8,000 people, feeling kind of trapped for sure. Maybe the cruise wasn't the best vacation to take first with long COVID, and definitely the flying was difficult, with my panic and anxiety and things like that. So, yeah, but I'll make another video about that. I had a user request, so thanks guys for all the subscriptions to the channel and the comments and the views. Over the last month, it's kind of just, it started with this couple people watching my videos, and now there's over 100. It's crazy. And, 100's not a lot compared to other people, but, when you consider the message that I'm trying to get out, I'm happy with every new subscriber, every comment, and, every question or request for a video. The more people I can help, the better. So I did have a request from a user, Matthew, to make a couple videos, and I'm going to pick one that he had mentioned in the comments from my my story, basically. So he was looking for a video on vagal nerve stimulation, so like vagus nerve stimulation, which I've utilized a lot in my recovery. So I'm trying to think when I started doing these exercises. I think around 4 months. I got into a long COVID clinic at the hospital here, and I got about 4 or 5 appointments with an occupational therapist, and she had recommended it. I really had no idea what it was before that. And so from there, I kind of did my research and dived into this whole new realm of, what is the parasympathetic nervous system? What's the sympathetic nervous system? What's the freeze response, dorsal vagal theory, all sorts of different things. And those are all things for you guys to look up as well. And I'll do my best here in the next 10 minutes to, explain what I've done and, what you can do as well to try and help yourself. For me, the most debilitating symptom was this fight, flight, or freeze response. So, and I had no idea back then what the heck was going on. I just thought I was having panic for no reason. Had a couple panic attacks in my life before that. But this was something completely different. This was constant. This was hour after hour, day after day, multiple times a day, to the point where all I could do was lay in bed in my room, in a dark room, when I wasn't at work, and just put on nature shows that had calming sounds. Couldn't watch a show, couldn't read. Would catch myself looking out the window, staring at the window for, 20 minutes. Like, it was crazy. And this was coupled with the brain fog and disassociation. This was like depersonalization, derealization. So this was like really bad in the first 4 months of my long haul. And, it relates a lot to the neurological long COVID that I have, right? So this is all nervous system related. And there's different nervous systems, right? Or states that we can be in. There's different states, like there's the parasympathetic state, which I've learned is, the calming state where, everything's okay inside and, you're safe and everything's going to be fine. The sympathetic state is the state where, you have anxiety and you're going and like, oh my God, everything's, crashing down and I gotta get this project done, or things are going bad at home. And there was a lot of that for me. And then there was this freeze response, which is like the fight, flight, or freeze. Hard to say. But the freeze response is just the body just shuts down. Like, it doesn't know what is going on. It just completely stops doing any sort of thing that's not necessary. And this is kind of where I was. I was in between that and the fight response. The flight response, and it was just like constant panic. It's hard to even think back to those times, but yeah, there was different things that that I did that started to help, and I started really, really easy. And that's how I recommend it. If you have the same thing as me, you're having these panic attacks, or you're having any sort of disassociation, depersonalization, and you don't know why, whether or not you have a history of mental health issues, there's a lot of us that have had anxiety in the past or have had some depression, and then it went away, but it doesn't matter. This is all things you can do on a daily basis to help your nervous system. And I still do them to this day, and I don't want any of this coming back. So, these are practices that you can incorporate into your daily routine. They don't take a long time. Some of them you can even do while you're doing something else. So, again, I'm not a doctor. None of this is medical advice. These are all just things that helped me. Maybe they can help you. I don't know. Try them out. So there's some things here. There's about 5 things that I can recommend. One of my friends from the U.S., I talked to her in April of last year, and she's very, very intelligent in naturopathic medicine, and she's fighting, her own battle, and she's learned so many things, and she shared so many things with me. One of the things she shared was humming and singing. And, you go, oh, well, humming and singing, what do you mean? But really, humming and singing increases vagal tone, so it increases, it's working on your vagus nerve, and it's one of the things that you can do. So, I couldn't even listen to music in the early days, but something that you got to try at, hum at if you can. One of the breathing apps that I use called Breathwork, that's number 2, breathing. But Breathwork has longcovid specific breathing exercises, and one of them is breathe in for 4 and then breathe out with a hum. So there's something you can do if you don't want to sing along to songs. You can do the breath work with the humming. So that's something that you can do. That's just breath work and humming. It's 2 things in one, actually. So the app's really good. I'll put a link for it in the description. I think some of it's even free. It used to be when I first started, like 6 months ago. I pay for the free, the paid version. It's like $5 a month in Canada here, but it's totally worth it. As you get deeper into breath work, it's been such a huge help for me, and breathing does do so much for the vagus nerve. You can do, you want your exhales to be longer. So when you're breathing in, your heart's speeding up. When you're breathing out, that's when your heart rate comes down. So that's when your body starts to calm down. And there's so many other people on YouTube that you can look into breath work, exercises. There's Wim Hof. There's all sorts of different breathing exercises. But I find this breath work app, it's got a little bit of everything. I mean, there's calming breath, breathing exercises. There's nighttime breathing exercises, energy, performance, all sorts of different categories. And then there's even like challenges. There's all sorts of different things. So I'm not pushing the app on you, but I think there's a free version if you want to try it out. You really should. So breathwork does increase the parasympathetic nervous system state. So, it does calm you down. And I've used it so many times just to get myself out of that, oh my God, I need a Ativan, or I need something to calm me down. I'm in a situation at work where I'm going to this high pressure meeting, and I use breath work. I'll go outside, I'll sit outside, and I'll just do my breathing. So breath work is really, really important to do. And really, you can start small. You can do 2 minutes. You can do a minute, and then you can build up. I now have like a schedule of breathing exercises that I do daily that are, so crucial to keeping my nervous system in that parasympathetic state and keeping my body calm. That was my biggest problem. My biggest symptom was this panic and frozen state and going in between that. So, cold immersion is also a new, it's not new, but it's being talked about all over the place by Huberman and Joe Rogan. And, Again, Wim Hof is, I have his app too. You know, it was a paid version for a while I was using it. I don't do the paid subscription anymore. I just, once you learn how to do his breathing, you know, you don't need the app anymore. But the cold that we're talking about, the cold is really good. And that really teaches your body, from what I understand from listening to these experts, it's putting your body under stress, but you are doing that. So you're almost, you know, teaching your body that, hey, I can do this. And hey, start with 5 seconds, move up to 10, 15, 20. And the point where I think Huberman said, like, your mind learns that, hey, okay, so I'm going to do 30 seconds. And if you can stay in the shower for 35 seconds, your mind has learned that I've overcome this stress. So I've gone 35 seconds, or I've turned the temperature colder than yesterday. Super helpful. You don't want to start with a cold shower, which is what I do. You can put your hands in ice water. You know, you can also put your face in ice water. So there's all sorts of different techniques. There's even like crazy people, they have ice buckets in their house or in their backyard, or they get in the lake and go in this freezing ice water. It's crazy. So I just stick with my minute cold shower once a day. I have my hot shower, and then I turn it from hot to cold for 1 minute, and then I get out. Super helpful. We talked about breathing and meditation. So breath work, if you don't want to do breath work, you can do meditation. I find meditation harder. I'm doing my best to learn more about it. And, you know, I find it hard to turn my mind off sometimes to actually sit there and do a 10-minute meditation, but I'm doing my best to get there. But meditation and breathing go hand in hand. They kind of do the same thing for you, because in the meditation or the yoga, you're doing that breathing to calm yourself down. And the fifth thing is vagal nerve stimulation. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. So I started out with exercises on YouTube. There's a great channel. The lady's name is Suki Baxter. And she has some great exercises and a couple of wonderful videos on vagal nerve stimulation exercises that you can do at home. And these are actually where I started, because I didn't know about all these other things like cold immersion and breathing and humming and all that stuff. But I started with these, and she has some exercises. Just, I'll link her channel, but you kind of tilt your head, and then you look up to about 2 o'clock position. And I'm not going to go into it, but I'm going to link her channel so you can go check these out. And these exercises help you increase your vagal tone, and get you more into that parasympathetic state. So she has great exercises. She also has videos with pressure points and things like that that you can do to stimulate your vagus nerve. And then I got into the world of vagal nerve stimulation devices. So I have this intensity micro combo, and I'm not going to get into any of the settings and things like that, because that's a whole world on its own. You have to have the right settings for this machine to stimulate the vagus nerve properly. It's basically a TENS machine, and you know, it's a microcurrent. So I use it every day, and I use it for 20 minutes. And I started with 1 minute. So what you do is, there is an ear clip, and you use a gel. I don't have the gel on me right now, but you use a gel. You put a little bit on the clip, and then the clip attaches to your ear. Always on the left ear, never on the right. So you attach it to your left ear, okay? And then there is a patch. Some of the devices have a double wire for the ear, but then there's a patch. And the patch would go on your shoulder, so that just goes on my back shoulder. And then you would turn your machine on, and you would start with 1 minute. And you can, once you have the settings right, there's a couple of groups on Facebook that I learned about this from, with the vagus nerve stimulation groups. I think it's Don Wiley has a great group. I'll link those groups as well for you guys to go check out and learn for yourself. This is just a couple of, you know, informative things that I've done. You can increase the intensity and just start on the lowest intensity for 1 minute and see what you notice. and definitely check out these groups. There's so much information that is beneficial to learning more about this device, and there's multiple different ones. I started with looking at one that's made here in Canada, but it was like $1,000, and it does basically the same thing as this device does. I think this device was about $130 US, and they do ship to Canada. So great way to also stimulate your vagus nerve electronically, I guess, versus the exercises that Suki can show you in her videos. But turn that off now. But anything you can do really to get your body out of that fight or flight, it reduces inflammation as well, right? So if your body's constantly fighting itself, of course it's going to be inflamed, and that'll be the next video I make, is on brain inflammation and inflammation in general, system-wide throughout the body. That was one of my largest problems. I used to have this burning brain sensation and brain pressure, and it was definitely brain inflammation. As soon as I can calm the inflammation down, that things got better. Just a quick note, don't overdo it with the vagus nerve stimulation. I can't stress this enough. Just start small, a few quick exercises, or a short cold shower, or some humming or breath work. Just start small. I incorporate these things, all of them, into my daily routine now, but I definitely didn't when I began, and I learned about these at different times and different months throughout my long haul. So I did get back from the cruise, and I definitely had a flare of my symptoms. So I would say before I went on the vacation, I wasn't doing all of these things every day. I've talked about that app that I use, Dailyo, where I have a tracker where I tick off all these activities that I've done for the day towards my recovery, or what the weather was like, who I had been with, had I been working, had I been not. But all of these things I've just told you are in that app, and that allows me to see if I was having a bad day or an okay day or a great day or absolutely terrible day. Did I do these things or not? So that helps me track these trends to see that these things actually have helped me over the last year. Since I've been back from the cruise, I've had a flare of symptoms, so I've been using them absolutely every day to try and get back to normal. And it's been 3 weeks or so now, and finally I'm just starting to get rid of that flare. So I know that they're helping, and I hope they can help you guys too. Really appreciate you watching this video. I do hope that it helps someone, and if you have any other questions about anything related to the vagus nerve, put them in the chat. I can do my best to respond to you, or I can link some other resources with people that are way more experienced in this subject than me. Again, thanks for watching, and take care.